Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDOWorkHereLady. I want to say thank you very much to everyone who subscribed to this channel and hits the like button. And our first story. It's not a child discount. I work here. I'm so lucky to get to work a dream part-time job teaching little kids how to ski. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I love seeing them smile the first time I take them up the bunny hill at the end of the lesson. Seriously, if you can get this job, get it. I also happen to get a very good employee discount, which is nice because after a full day, 6-ish lessons, I'm exhausted. Kids are fun, but I'm tall, so holding them upright while walking backwards in the nutcase tilt my expert boots have does a number on my back. I like to reward myself with a chocolate bar, a hot dog, a pop after a full day of work using the aforementioned amazing discount while I wait for my mom to come pick me up. It had been a nice, warmish day, like -10 to -5 Celsius, and sunny all day long, so I had a full day of lessons with hyperactive youngsters. It was so busy that I hadn't bothered taking anyone up to the top of the hill, as even in my first lesson, the instructor fast lane was a bit too long, and it just got worse as the day went on. Also, the kids after my first lesson were very young, and some of them had never skied before, so I wasn't holding them back from anything, just trying to get across how insanely busy it was. I think everyone in a 100-kilometer radius was on the hill and booking last-minute lessons. Needless to say, the cafeteria was just as packed. I was still standing in line for my hot dog when I got my mom's text saying she was parking. I should preface this by saying that there were more instructors this year than there were coats for the instructors, so I was borrowing one from one of the managers on vacation, leading to a complete confusion among parents because there was a name tag on it that was not my name. And I had to turn it in after my last lesson every day, meaning I was wearing my yellow striped jacket that I think is actually a child's XXL because of how short it is, but it was secondhand and is an expensive brand and fits, so who cares? I finally get to the checkout and grab my chocolate bar as I hand the cashier my employee badge, which looks very similar to a season pass, so that she can apply my discount. I should also mention that the cafeteria area we were packed like sardines, but it was not so the cashiers, so I'm really not sure why this lady was standing close enough to me to read the discount on the bill I was handed. I'm paranoid and always check it before leaving. Big mistake. This woman shoves her kid right up to me and hands her her card saying, "You pay," then turns to the cashier and says, "We want the child discount," in a sickly sweet voice. I'm confused. The cashier's confused. The other instructors in front of me are confused. We're a ski hill known for our ski school. It would go out of business if there were a child discount. The cashier finally says, "We don't have a child discount." "Yes, you do," the lady says, shoving her terrified kid, my guess is 9 years old, toward the counter. She then points at me. "She got the child discount." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but she works here." "No, she doesn't." The lady from here on L points to the other instructors. "They do. This child is not even old enough to work here." I kind of nod and shrug and eat my hot dog. This really isn't my problem, at least I didn't think so, and I wasn't quite ready to leave yet as I needed some hands to get my skis into our car. I then go stand by a wall because there was no sitting space left as the cashier from here on C brings up the total. L, "Where's the discount?" C, calmly, "I told you there is no discount." L, waves arms like a mad person and points to me, stuffing my face. "She got one. My daughter should get one too." C, "No, she works here." L, "No, she does not." I finally get annoyed with this and tell her that I do, in fact, work here as an instructor. L, "No, you do not. You are too young to work here, and anyone can see that you're lying. You're not wearing an instructor's coat." Me, "Yeah, because I clocked out." L, "See, you aren't working. I want the child discount." C, "There is no child discount." L, "Then what discount did she get?" Points an accusatory finger at me. C, getting really annoyed, "The employee one." L, "But she said she isn't working." At this point, the people behind her are pretty upset, and some are telling her to pay and move on. The lady starts pointing at my employee card that's hanging between my pop and chocolate and starts saying that it looks like her kid's pass. I'm now at the end of my wits and show her where it says employee on the card. She turns red, then demands that I give it to her for her child to use. I simply inform her I am not allowed to share it with anyone and leave. Before you ask, I have no idea what happened next. I applied late, part of why I didn't get my own jacket, and didn't know if this is needed to be reported or not, but no one got hurt, and I assume she paid and went on her unmerry way. Is there a doctor on board? Obligatory first post here, blah blah. I hope this is the right place to post this. Recently found the subreddit and thought you might enjoy this. Some background before I begin. I'm a doctor. This event happened a few years ago, now back when I was a junior doctor, so shiny you could use me for a shaving mirror. I also had a career before I did medicine, so I was 30 years old when this happened. I'd been a doctor for about 8 months. So I was on a flight on a well-known airline that has this weird obsession with putting pictures of kangaroos everywhere, with my then fiancé and some of our friends going on a trip to Bali. The plane had just taken off, maybe 15 minutes in the air, when the flight crew say over the intercom the words every doctor dreads to hear on a plane, "Is there a doctor on board?" After looking around and seeing that no one else was getting up, I reluctantly head forward to the crew area to introduce myself. Looking very grateful for my presence, a flight attendant shows me to where a passenger in question is sitting. I walk up to a man who looks half dead. Thankfully, he has a medic alert bracelet and is still conscious enough to tell me exactly what's going on. He has Addison's disease, an autoimmune disease affecting the adrenal glands, and he feels like he's having an adrenal crisis. Basically, he's in shock due to a lack of the hormones that the adrenal gland secretes. This is normally managed initially by a hydrocortisone injection, followed by several days of care in the nearest hospital. Unfortunately, he did not have the right documentation to be able to bring his auto-injector onto the plane, so it's in his checked luggage. Crap. I tell the flight attendant to inform the pilot that we need to get this man to a hospital as soon as humanly possible. Another flight attendant was in the process of talking to an on-call medic advice service for airlines and emergencies, and the doctor on the other end agrees with my assessment. The plane turns around, heads back to the airport we just came from. I have a conversation with the on-call service, amazing team of people. I wish I found out the name of the organization so I could give them a shout out. Unfortunately, it got lost among all the other things happening. Boring doctor conversation happens. I get given a plan for the patient on the plane. Awesome. The aircraft had a surprisingly well-stocked first aid kit on board, so I begin administering fluids to my new patient while all of this is happening. As I'm doing so, a woman comes up and introduces herself as a nurse, showing me her work badge. Don't ask me why she had one on a plane, I have no idea. Great, the extra set of experienced hands will be useful. I ask her to start the fluids once I get a line inserted into the patient and to then recheck his vitals in a few minutes to see how he's responding. The flight attendant who initially took me to the patient then tells me that the nurse should be able to handle it from here and that she would like for me to return to my seat. Okay, that's weird. Her demeanor is off a bit, but I never noticed at the time. But there's nothing else I can do for the guy with onboard resources. We don't have the drugs he needs, and the nurse was perfectly happy to stay with him and alert me if anything goes downhill, so I go back to my seat thinking I've done a good job. Not too bad for a shiny noob doctor. Fast forward 20 minutes and the plane has just landed, and we appear to have gone to an empty gate somewhere away from the main terminals. The same flight attendant comes up and asks if I could please go and speak to the paramedics at the front of the plane as they board. Sure thing. So I head up to the front of the plane where I'm met by two very serious-looking police officers. "Sir, would you mind stepping off the plane for a moment? We'd like to have a chat with you." Uh-oh, what did I do? I, of course, comply and step off the plane, after which I'm taken about 2 minutes walk away from the plane and put in an office. "Are you aware that impersonating a doctor is a serious offense?" one officer asks me. I ask what this was all about, and I'm told that the cabin crew called ahead to say that a medical student impersonating a doctor was treating a patient on board the aircraft. They ask for my ID and any documentation I can provide to prove I'm a doctor. Slight problem. While I can provide my registration number, every doctor in my country has one. It can be used to look up the individual registration online. My passport, wallet, ID, everything is in my carry-on bag under my fiance's seat. One officer steps out to talk to someone, I assume to get my carry-on off the plane, while the other officer continues to talk to me. I later found out that the nurse who helped me vaguely recognized me from somewhere. I had been on placement at her hospital as a medical student the year before, and she told the flight attendant that she thought I was a medical student. Rather than talk to me about it, they just assumed the nurse was right and took steps to separate me from the patient. I was so focused on the patient, I never noticed the change in body language from the cabin crew or really took notice of the oddity of asking me back to my seat. Then again later, they lied to me to get me to exit the plane quietly. The officer who had stepped out came back after what felt like half an hour or so, and through police magic was somehow able to verify who I was and that I was actually a doctor. Phew, I was half doubting myself for a minute there. But they hadn't thought to speak to the airline about all of my belongings. They let me go and take me back to where the plane was. Only problem, the plane wasn't there. They'd refueled and taken off again. So now I'm stuck in an airport on the wrong side of passport control without any form of identification, no home key, no money, no phone, nothing. I hadn't been able to speak to my then fiance or any of my friends, so they had no idea what was going on. I had just vanished from their perspective, and no one would answer their questions throughout the entire flight or after they landed. The airline I was flying with also had the gall to try and deny any wrongdoing. They refused to transfer me to a different flight as I was asked to leave the plane, so I must have been in the wrong. So they also did not want a disruptive passenger on board one of their aircraft. And oh yeah, I had no passport. As far as they were concerned, I should just go away and leave them well alone. They even tried to prevent me from using their phone to call someone for help. I ended up having to call my now father-in-law to come and pick me up. I had to stay with them for a week without any clothes or toiletries until my now wife got back with all my stuff because I don't have a key to get into my apartment. Thankfully, I managed to contact her after she landed, so she at least knew I was safe, but she stayed with our friends and enjoyed her holiday. No sense both of us being stuck at home. They even tagged me in all the photos of them over there. Cheeky, LOL. In the end, I managed to win a claim through small claims court, but it took an awfully long time to process. I got my money back with a small amount for damages. Throughout the entire process, despite witness statements from other passengers, the airline still adamantly refused to admit they'd done anything wrong. There is still ongoing litigation, which I am oh so looking forward to, so I will not be directly naming the airline that is totally not mentioned down in the comments. Now, I try to get some alcohol ASAP once I board a plane so that I can refuse to assist due to being impaired. Also, I'll never fly that airline again. Oh, and the guy made a full recovery. He sent me a thank you letter with some chocolates once he got out of the hospital. I still have the card to this day, and I cherish it greatly. The chocolates were crap, though. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos, click here. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's very important to me. And we'll see you soon.